Okay, here we have a Mustang. It's a 2002 with a 3.8 liter engine, and as you can hear, we have a no start. All right, so I'm going to show you a couple of things we're going to do just to check to make sure what's wrong with it, and then we'll go from there. Obviously, the first thing you're going to do is put the battery charger on it because it came in, the battery was stone dead, so we charged the battery up. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to check for spark. What we're going to do is we're going to pull off one of the spark plug wires, and we're going to check and see if we have spark go into the plugs. So let's do that, and we'll see how it goes. Just take a piece of wire, and again we're going to take the wire off of one of the plugs because it makes it a little bit easier. And what we're going to do is we're going to just connect onto it with a jumper wire. We're just going to connect into the wire, and then we're going to check, and we're going to see if we have any spark coming from the wire. So let me grab you, and I'll show you. So this is the wire. We're just going to hold it about a quarter inch away from the ground and see if we have any spark. So let me just put this down and I'll show you how it goes. Okay, here we go. Let's see if we have any spark. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the wire and hold it. And as you can see, we're getting a pretty good spark. It's jumping a good quarter inch to half inch, so it's a good, nice, bright spark. So we're going to reconnect the wire back onto the we're going to reconnect the wire back onto the spark plug where we took it off from. All right, next thing we're going to check is we're going to check to see if we have fuel pressure. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we know we have a good spark, so we're going to actually check to see if we have any fuel pressure. And the way you do that is there's a little valve over here. It's a Schrader valve. You just take this cap off of here. You want to be real careful because you're dealing with fuel now. So what you want to do is you want to take a rag, stick a rag down underneath the Schrader valve, and you just take a screwdriver and you push the valve in and see if you have any fuel pressure. And we have no fuel pressure at all. So let me just go inside and cycle the key 2 or 3 times to see if we could build up any fuel pressure. So we just turn the key on. Let it stay on for a couple seconds because the pump should run for about 5 seconds. Shut it off. Turn it back on again. Let it run for a couple of seconds. I don't even hear the pump running, so I'm not sure if it even is. And we'll try pressing the Schrader valve in one more time. Okay, and we have no fuel pressure in the line whatsoever. So now we know there's no fuel pressure. Now we need to check a few more things to see what's going on. We want to check one of the injectors and see if we have injection pulse. So I'll show you how we're going to do that next. Okay, what you want to do is you want to get to an injector, and we want to unplug the electrical connector off of the injector. This is the injector right down here. So what we're going to do is we're going to unplug the electrical connector off the injector, and we're going to use a thing called a Noid light just to see if there's any injection pulse. So what you're going to do is we're going to push that little clip right there in towards the center of the car and just pull the I'm going to put the camera down for 1 second. Okay, sorry about that, but I couldn't do it with just one hand. Now that you have the injector unplugged, which is down inside here, I have the plug off of the injector, we're going to take a piece called a Noid light, and the Noid light is going to be plugged into the injector, and we're going to see if it pulses while we crank the engine, and then we know if we have injection pulse. So you just take it and you plug it in. I'm going to put you down one more time. Sorry about that. Okay, so now let me go inside, and I'm going to crank it. And if everything is working properly with the injector pulse, this light should start to blink. So let's see how that goes, and we'll go from there. As we can see, the injector is actually pulsing the way it's supposed to. So now what we'll do is we're just going to reconnect. We'll disconnect the light. We'll plug the injector back in over here, and now we know we have an injection pulse, and we know we have spark. We have spark. We have an injection pulse. Now we're going to just give it a little shot of ether in the front snorkel tube here, and it should fire up for a moment, and then when the starting fluid burns out, it'll die out. So let's just give that a shot, and we'll go from there. Just give it a little shot of ether. Make sure we reconnect this snorkel tube. You don't want to fire this up with the tube disconnected, because you have an airflow meter that has to sense the flow of air past the meter. So we just reconnect it, and then we'll give it a shot and see what happens. Should start for a moment, and then run out of fuel and die out. Let's see. Now we know it does run when we give it a little shot of ether. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go on the computer, and we're going to take a look down at the wiring harness to the fuel pump, and we're going to check to see if we have power down to the pump. So let me get that wiring diagram up, and we'll check that out. Okay, I just printed off of the computer the schematic for the fuel pump plug in the back, and as we can see, pin number 6 is supposed to have fuel pump power. So let me unplug the harness, and we'll check to see if we have power there. And just so you know, the plug is right underneath the back of the fuel tank here. And there's a little pin. You just push that pin in, and you can pull it apart. I'm just going to put this down for a second so I can unplug it. Alright, so we unplug it now, and we're going to check pin number 6. And pin number 6 is right in here on the harness. Let me just turn the key to the on position, and we'll go from there. Okay. Key is on, and pin number 6 should be right here. And as you can see, it does have power to pin number 6. So we know that it has power coming to the pump, but the pump is not running. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to drain the fuel tank, and we're going to pull it out of the car, and the pump itself is most likely the cause. So let me get started, and we'll get right back to it. Okay, now that we got the car up on the lift, we're going to We're going to disconnect everything on the tank and remove it from the car. What we're going to do is we're going to disconnect obviously the fuel tank is drained out. I siphoned that out already. That's empty. We're going to disconnect the filler neck. We got to take out this bolt right here. We got to disconnect these hoses here and here. In the back of the car here, unplug the electrical connector. Around on the other side right here, we're going to disconnect these hoses right here. And then we're going to go in the back underneath here. And we're going to disconnect this hose here. Then we're going to lift the jack up underneath the bottom of the tank itself. And then we're going to loosen up this bolt here and take the strap down. And loosen up this bolt and take that strap down. So let me get started on that and I'll show you how it goes. Alright, just want to mention this to you real quickly. Before you unbolt this, you won't be able to pull the filler neck out of the fuel tank itself. But once you unbolt this here and you unbolt everything else, we're going to lower the tank down just a little bit, and then we're going to slide the tank out of the filler neck right here. So I'll show you how it goes. Okay, now that we have everything disconnected, we disconnected the hoses from the filler. We unplugged the plug for the electrical connector. We took off these hoses up underneath here for the emissions. And the way you take these hoses off is this one here. You don't pry it off, you pull the clip towards you, and you'll see where it pulls and opens up. Pull it towards you, and the clip opens up and slides right off, and you pull the line right off. All right, the last thing we're going to do now is we're going to go underneath the car to where the fuel filter is located, right up underneath here, and we're going to remove the filter. We're going to take off the safety clip right here, and we have a special tool that we need to put in here to take this off. Let me show you what they look like. This is what it looks like, and what it is it goes in here like this. Okay, we have a special tool to get in there, and you can either use this type of a clip to get in there to take it off, or in this case I'm going to use this one here because it's a little bit shallower. And what you do is once you have your clip off underneath here, you put this over the top like this, you push it in this way here, pull this direction here, releases the spring, and you take this and pull it off. I'm going to put the camera down so I can do that. I need two hands. What I always do is after I disconnect that line, I always stick a little cap over the top of it so I'm not dripping fuel all over the ground. Alright, so now we're just going to take out the bolts underneath here on the fuel tank. This one and this one, and the one up in the front, and then we're going to slowly lower the gas tank down out of the car. So let's do that and then we'll get right back. Okay, once you have the tank out of the car, you want to unbolt the top of the tank. The float assembly comes right out. Unbolt this. Oh, let me just show you this too. This line was actually on there, and you take that line off the same way that we did the previous one with the tool. Remember, we put that tool in here like this, put it on like that, and pulled it off. All right. Then we unbolt this, and then we're going to replace it with the whole new complete assembly. So let's put that in there. We'll bolt it back up, and then we're going to put it back in the car. So let's get started. One word of advice: I know everybody is pretty careful with gasoline, but you want to be extra careful. If you're doing this job indoors in the wintertime and you have your heat running, you want to make sure your heat turns off, because the worst thing that can happen is you have build up all these fumes. Your heat turns on, you'll get a spark and you'll get an explosion. So make sure you turn your heat off. I always have my compressor door closed so that there's no possibility of a spark from the compressor either. In this particular case, I actually shut the compressor off for that reason. So just be careful, because fumes they could be a killer. Okay, once you've got the top opened up, you'll look inside and you'll see the fuel pump assembly in here. What you basically do is just pull these clips towards you here, and the other clip on the other side over here, and this pump will pull right out of the tank. So let me do that, and I'll show you how to put the new one back in just a moment. Okay, once we got the old assembly out, we put on the side, and we're going to take the new assembly and we're going to install it right into the gas tank. And the way it goes in is exactly how you took it out. This goes in over here, and it fits right down only one way into those lock clips. So let me just put this camera down and I'll show you how it goes. Okay, we push it down until these tabs lock back into position where it first came out of. When you push it down, you'll feel it lock right in and it snaps in. Now we're just going to reattach the top lid, and we're going to put the bolts into it, and then I'll come right back and show you how it goes once I get those in there. Okay, once we have all the bolts tightened up on the top of the pump, we're going to reconnect our electrical connectors as we disconnected them. This one just pushes right in here, and you'll hear it snap. The wiring we're going to put back underneath where it was located before. It was underneath here. So we're going to put it right back in the same place. I'm going to tape that down. This comes around underneath here to this location here. And then we're going to reattach this hose, and you'll hear it snap. Right, snaps in, and then we put our lock clip back on it to hold it in place, like that. And then we're going to put the tank back into the car. So let me get to that point, and I'll get right back to you. Okay, now that we got the tank in, we're just going to go over and make sure everything is tight. The filler neck is in. The hoses are reconnected as they're supposed to be. The clip has been reattached onto the top right up here where it's supposed to be. The fuel line is connected. The clip is on right here as it's supposed to be, the safety clip. Underneath the bottom here, this hose is connected back on. You push it in until you hear it snap. That's for the emission control. And last but not least, these two are connected on over here. These were, these two hoses here have been reconnected and the clip locked back in place. The bolts are tight here, and here, and here. Last thing we're going to do is we're going to reconnect this. We're going to put it right back into this spot right here. And then we're going to lower it down and start it up. Alright, now that we got the car on the ground, let's see how everything goes. If everything goes well, we should hear the fuel pump like buzzing. That's it. Perfect. Just got to put the fuel back in the tank now and take it for a test drive, and we're all done. Not too bad when you know what you're doing. See you on the next one. Thanks for watching.